on YouTube. So I'm streaming live on YouTube as well. If you haven't liked my YouTube channel, you can go find me. I think at like the BB Assistant or something like that. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm really actually excited to talk about this topic because this is something that a lot of people typically have questions about. People ask me about a lot, and that is how do I find the right vendor? Okay, so Siobhan, I got you, Siobhan. Hey, Siobhan, girl. Hey, Sade, how you doing? I see you up on Facebook. So a lot of people asking me about, picking the right vendor and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just start this off with the facts. Like we're just gonna jump right into it. So I just want y'all to know that there's no such thing as like the perfect vendor. I know that's not what y'all want to hear, but it's the truth. Another fact is that you will need to have at least probably 10 vendors in your contacts. And I am going to tell you a couple different reasons why. And a lot of people ask me, should I buy a vendors list? Do vendors list work? All that and third. And I just want to tell you, if you're going to buy a vendors list, then buy categorized vendors lists that are relevant to maybe the types of products that you want, and you'll have a better chance at hopefully finding a vendor. And then the other two, we're gonna talk about that a little later. So now we're gonna go ahead and just get into the topic, which is like how to pick the right vendors. So if you're on Facebook, please share this somewhere, tag somebody. If you're on Instagram, I don't know, share this somewhere, tag somebody on this broadcast, buy a badge, do whatever. If you are on YouTube, hello, this is my first time actually streaming here, so really excited. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the first thing you need to do in order to pick the right vendor. And so this is going to be determine what type of products you need to source based on your target audience. Now, what I encourage everybody to do is like the first thing you need to do is just like make a list of the types of products that you're looking for. A lot of people just go into looking for vendors by just like looking for stuff that they like, and it's not always what their audience wants. If you buy stuff that you like versus buying things that your target audience wants or that's geared towards your target audience, you're going to be stuck with a whole lot of products. And if you don't want to be stuck with a whole lot of products, if you don't want to be adding a whole bunch of stuff to your cart, if you don't want to be overbuying, if you don't want to risk buying things that are not going to sell, then you need to make sure that you are sourcing according to what your audience wants. And so the first thing you got to do is actually know who your target audience is and know who you are trying to attract with your products. And then once you know that, then start looking for vendors, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of vendors, and actually looking at vendors, looking at products, that's actually like hey Sabrina, that's actually like the really fun part. And a lot of people get sucked down the rabbit hole. They end up with thousands of dollars in their carts and then eventually get extremely scared to check out, mainly because they don't know like their target audience and they are not clear about what types of products they want to sell. So the first thing you need to do is you need to write a list of the types of products that you are looking for in that moment. So if you're looking for, I don't know, like jean skirts, jean jackets, I don't know, terry cloth two-piece sets, then you need to write that down. And then when you go looking for your vendors, look for the vendors that carry those items versus just looking to see what a vendor has, because you're going to end up, like I said, with a whole bunch of stuff in your cart. That's the first thing. The second thing, as it comes to like picking the right vendor, is knowing your price point for your business and then knowing your budget. So the price point is really important, because as you're looking at your vendors and as you're looking at different vendors, you will be able to tell based on their wholesale price if this is a product that you can afford to carry in your collection and on your store. So, for example, if you are trying to go for like a more affordable budget, kind of low cost, I don't know, kind of boutique or deal, then that means that you're going to need to look for vendors who have a lower price point. And I'm going to tell you how to identify or how to find the vendors with the lowest price points. Um, so that you can find what you're looking for. A lot of people get caught up and they get stuck with products because they buy at a high wholesale price. And then when they mark it up by, let's say, by 2 or 2.5, the price is so high, but they haven't built in that audience that's willing to pay that price point. So you're going to want to keep your price point in mind as you are looking for your products. And I encourage everybody, before you buy any product, you need to determine like how much you can actually mark that product up without being like too far over like your target price point for your brand. Does that make sense? Let me know if this makes sense, because y'all know I like to make sure I'm making sense for y'all. So let me know in the comments if what I just explained to you um, makes sense. Now, another thing about knowing your price point is that if you are buying products, like let's say at a higher wholesale price, and you have to price it high in order to make your money, if let's just say if it's a luxury price or what, like you're at a luxury price point or whatever, or you're below a luxury price point. If you price at a luxury price point, but that audience is not used to that price point, then they're not going to buy your stuff. Okay, so a lot of people get stuck, and I don't want y'all to get stuck there. And then also just kind of like know your budget, because a lot of the times the stuff that you're trying to source, it could just naturally have like a high wholesale price. So if you're trying to sell something like really nice suits, or like, like really classy, nice dresses, the wholesale prices of that stuff is going to be like a little bit higher. And so naturally, you're going to have a larger budget versus if you're selling something like jewelry that really doesn't cost as much. Um, and so you can buy a lot more jewelry with $100 than you actually could buy clothing with $100. So you definitely need to know like what your budget is and set that budget so that you're not spending just like off the chain with your products that you plan on launching. And so when you actually write out that list, like what I told you all to do in number one and number two, when you get to the different vendors and stuff like that, based on your price points and your budgets, you'll know like what kind of products you can have and what kind you can't. So the third thing, and this is kind of like the most important thing, is know where your vendors are on the supply chain. And so I'm going to explain that to you. So a lot of people use the term vendor as like an umbrella term. So, what a lot of people don't know is that there are different types of vendors. And based on the type of vendor that you go with, will depend on like how much of a product you can get, the quality of the product, and how they keep their supplies. So, I'm going to break down like the different types of vendors. So, this is why I say like, um, kind of be careful like when you're buying vendors lists, and also make sure that you are knowing like where the vendors that you work with fall on the supply chain. So pretty much at the top of the food chain are the manufacturers. Manufacturers are the people that produce the items that we wholesale in bulk. Some manufacturers will produce like customized items for like other brands and stuff, and then some of them just kind of like mass produce items. And so when you try to go to a manufacturer, you will typically have to buy larger quantities. Excuse me, you will typically have to buy larger quantities of a product, but for an extremely low price. Okay, and so that's kind of like the trade-off. They might want you to buy an MOQ, which is a minimum order quantity, of like, let's say 100, but they'll give it to you for $1 each, versus when you're going with a different vendor, they might have that same product and make you only buying quantities of 10, but the per piece price is like $3 or $4. So at the manufacturer level is where you're gonna get like the cheapest price, but you're going to have to buy more. If you're a larger boutique, that could work for you. And then some manufacturers will overproduce, and so some of them that have it in stock will let you mix and match to reach those MOQs. It just depends on who the vendor is. So if you go to a manufacturer and they have a high MOQ, just ask them, can you mix and match the products to meet that MOQ? So after the manufacturers, you kind of have the manufacturers who have like the trading companies, or they essentially have like a sales department, and they typically call these like their trading companies or whatever. Some of the trading companies are in house with the manufacturers, and then some are their own kind of excuse me, they're their own kind of component. Okay. And so another name for trading companies are essentially distributors. And so what they do is they work to get like different types of products into different markets around the world. So if there's a trading company or distributor over in China, they might sell a specific type of product that they take into the US to get it into the people that's kind of like at the next level, which is the wholesalers. If you find distributors, you typically will have to buy in larger quantities as well, because a lot of distributors, they ship their stuff from different parts of the world and overseas by container. So they typically ship it by sea, um, by a container. But these, like I was saying, these trading companies, um, they bring it, or distributors, they bring it into the US, and then what they do is now they'll sell it to pure wholesalers. Hey, Ebony, they'll sell it to pure wholesalers who will break it down smaller for like retail stores. So a lot of people typically work with um, wholesalers. So either what I call like a pure wholesaler or a wholesaler that retails. So I advise y'all to stay away as much as you can from wholesalers who retail, because the price, hey mommy, because the price is going to be a lot higher. Well, I'll say the wholesale price typically is going to be a lot higher for a couple different reasons. Number one, they retail the same product that they're wholesaling to you. So do you think that they're going to price their stuff to so that you can be competitive with them as far as pricing? Probably not. So I would encourage you to just try to find wholesalers that that's all they do is wholesale. They don't retail, they only wholesale. And if you're trying to do things on a larger scale, then probably look for legitimate trading companies or distributors. So I'm gonna take a little pause real quick. Does that make sense? Do y'all understand the different types? Like, did y'all even know that there were different types of vendors per se? Because if you didn't know, this is some good information for you to know. So let me know if y'all even kind of like knew this information or whatever. Most of the wholesalers, um you can find these people in a couple different places. So they're typically, you can find them at trade shows, especially in the United States. So you typically find two types, well, actually three types of vendors at trade shows. So you'll find those trading companies who are just distributors. Then you'll find like those pure wholesalers, and you'll find wholesalers that retail. And so I'll tell you a wholesaler that retails. GD Wholesale down in Miami. They're a wholesaler that resells. And I don't know if y'all noticed that, but I ain't even gonna put that out there. But that's why their pricing is like, in my opinion, that's why it's so high. Okay. So okay, so people saying that they didn't know that. Okay, so I'm good. I'm glad that y'all know that and that it makes sense. And so here's the difference of why this matters, and here's the difference between like Alibaba and AliExpress. So I like to explain to people that AliExpress is essentially like the Amazon of China. So AliExpress is mostly used for like business to consumer transactions. So they're pretty much just like people who essentially are like you, start boutiques or start online businesses and sell directly to consumers. Um, the thing about it is just AliExpress, it has a reach just beyond like China. So if you think about it, these are other people who just kind of like started businesses to sell online. When you go to AliExpress, like they're essentially just selling to you as a consumer instead of as a business. Now, Alibaba is more so geared towards B2B, which is business to business. So there and a couple other sites, you're more likely to find the manufacturers, the trading companies, the distributors, and the people who are wholesaling on essentially like a larger scale. Okay. And so that's how I like to explain AliExpress. Yes, there's some trading companies that are on AliExpress, but because it's a marketplace like Amazon, they're not going to be offering this stuff up at like attractive prices, which is why I always tell people to look into Alibaba. And then another difference is because I purchased on all of these sites. AliExpress has something where you could ship like via e-packet. And if y'all know, e-packet take forever and a day to get here. Anybody ever shipped anything from China via e-packet? Let me know in the comments, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, if you've ever purchased anything and it said like e-packet, or you bought something and it took over a month. A lot of people don't know, like when they buy those awesome deals off of Amazon, a lot of that stuff is being shipped um, through ePacket, which is why it takes so long. Or ePacket, or I think it's called like China Post is another one, or something like that. So most of those sellers on AliExpress, they'll ship through ePacket, or to buy something off of AliExpress is going to cost you an arm and a leg in shipping. Now, I'm not saying that Alibaba is all that cheap, but if you've ever purchased from Alibaba, which I have, they have access to shipping, of course, by sea through containers, but also by air. And so a lot of the sellers on AliExpress typically don't have that option. And if they do, then it's going to be exceptionally high. Sabrina said, I purchased something that took a month or so, but I didn't notice the package. Yeah, if you still have the package and you go back and look at it, it was like ePacket. 10 years ago, Alibaba and AliExpress were everything. ePacket used to be the best option. Yes, it actually used to be, and that's how a lot of people actually, when the e-commerce boom started happening, that's how they were able to drop ship all of these smaller items and stuff like that, and literally become millionaires, because it was like, that was it. Like that was the thing to do or whatever. But now you can't really get away with that. So I encourage people to search Alibaba if you're doing like China based. There's a lot of people only think about China, but I've literally met like vendors from all parts of the world. And so there are vendors like really everywhere that kind of specialize in different things. So I encourage you to look in places beyond um just China for your vendors. Now, I ain't gonna go too much into that because I'm gonna save that. Um, I gotta save that. But anyway, so the next thing, um, as far as knowing your vendors and where they are on the supply chain, is that typically like the vendors for Alibaba, they typically will have like a more steady stream or a more steady selection of products. And that's just my opinion and what I found versus Alibaba, these people might have a store that's just selling 100 million random things. Now you might find that with true on, people on Alibaba or whatever, but the likelihood is a little bit lower. And also, like, there's other things that Alibaba kind of take their B2B people through to verify them and verifying their business. And if you are looking for vendors in China, there's actually a way to read like their business name to know like whether they're a manufacturer, whether they're a trading company, because the government makes them structure their name in a specific way so that they're easily identified. So the fourth thing in picking the right vendor is like knowing what your vendor's like business style is. So, what is their communication like? I encourage you, before you just go buying some stuff from some people, like ask them questions, see how quick they are to respond. Um, see how helpful there are, because nothing is worse than just seeing something you like, buying it, and not realizing that the vendor has poor communication. Now, if you're buying from other parts of the world, you got to consider the time zone differences. So right about now, things are about to pretty much start to get like popping over in China. And so like my notifications will eventually start dinging on both of my phones for people who are responding to me for, inquiries that I made on behalf of my clients. So know what their communication is like be cognizant of the time difference and determine like if you're cool with being up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, going back and forth with your vendor about, you know, products or issues and stuff like that. Some of the larger vendors, the the wholesalers, and the trading companies, they're really good about having people staffed that work 24 hours around the clock, especially if they sell a lot in other markets besides their own. So that's something to be aware of. How do they communicate? Like, is it through email or do they use WhatsApp? How do they notify you of new products? And so what I'm talking about is for vendors, not only for China, but this is for USA as well. Because I ain't gonna lie, some of these USA vendors, their communication sucks. Not only do their communication suck, but they'll give you like a hard time, be having attitudes, and all of this other stuff that nobody really wants to necessarily deal with. And so you want to peep that out before, um, find out like what you have to do to even access their stuff. Some of the people, WhatsApp was down when IG was down too. So keep other methods. Yeah, and so that's why I was saying like make sure like y'all know what ways you're able to um communicate with them. Find out if they send out line sheets. Find you some vendors that send line sheets, because the vendors that send line sheets, what they'll do, and for those of you that don't know what a line sheet is, it's pretty much just a document that has like all of maybe like the incoming shipments or like that season's products all in one document with the breakdown of like sizes, costs, and things like that. So a lot of people typically just like to go to the website of a vendor that they like and try to browse. If you can get on the website without having to register, then you could do that. But I encourage you to always ask your vendor, like, hey, do you send out line sheets? If you do, how can I get on the email list or the WhatsApp notification to get that information when it drops? Because what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these um, online boutiques and other online sellers that are not only in the United States, because you got to think people are selling like all around the world. Like these people, these boutiques, these brands are on their line sheet. So most of the time, the line sheets are sent out before this stuff is even on the website. And so for the companies that do send out line sheets, most of them will assign you a rep. And if they assign reps, then this is how a lot of the boutiques are getting up all of the good stuff, and y'all are stuck with like the crappy stuff because y'all are waiting for it to show up on a website. So find out, if your vendor actually has dedicated sales rep or if you can be assigned a sales rep, because that sales rep's number one job is going to be making sure they do what sales. So they're going to be in communication with you versus you having to hope that you see the next drops and be able to get some good stuff. So yeah, know like how they communicate. Also, see if they are will negotiate with you, and definitely look at like their reviews. One of the things that I do like about Alibaba is that for their reviews, they'll allow people to attach photos of the actual product. And so not only do I look at the photos from the listings, but then I go and look at the photos from the reviews. And not only do I just like look at the product photos, but I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I look at like the environment and or the person's hands or who's ever might be modeling it to make sure that it's just not like, you know, the vendors people just posting good reviews. But Alibaba is pretty good about that. But that is something that you could do. So definitely like look at the reviews, look at the photo reviews and see how that kind of matches up with the products because how do I say this? Um in business, like there's this cultural thing where different parts of the world have like other cultural practices, other business practices. And so I was reading a report um I was reading a report that basically said how consumers in China are okay with getting products that they purchase that don't necessarily look like the photos or are as not like as highest quality. And so a lot of people don't realize that that does not translate well into other parts of the world. And so, because of that, that's why I say you definitely want to look at those reviews because and to know their business style so that they understand that your expectation is that you want to get what you see on this picture and that you're not okay with getting what you purchase, but it being a lower quality. And also, like replicas and stuff like that, it's not as, in my opinion, like as regulated as it is here in the USA. So you could get some dupes on stuff and not even know it. The fifth thing is to determine your buying style. So that is pretty much determining like do you want to be able to get your products fast, like do you want to be able to like put your hand on these products, like do you want to be able to get this stuff and ship it back easily, because you got to think if you're shipping from other parts of the world it's going to be a little bit costly and it can be a little bit of headache if you get a bad package from a different part of the world and now you got to send it back. One of the trade-offs, in my opinion, is if you do buy in the USA, you won't have as much of a hard time returning your stuff pending like um, that company's sales policies. But the difference that I noticed kind of between the USA vendors and like the overseas vendors is that you're gonna pay a higher price wholesale because if you think about it, the product has touched so many different hands from the manufacturer to the trading company or the distributor to the wholesaler, and now the wholesaler got to break that down and sell it to you. So everybody on that chain got to get their money back. So you have to be you gotta be okay with that. And you're gonna have to do your due diligence to find the types of vendors that you're going to need. And so y'all can start letting the questions roll in because I'm pretty much at the end and then I'll take y'all questions. The other thing about determining your buying styles is like you're gonna need to know, like, do you need custom items? Do you need private labeling and stuff like that? Because all vendors are not created equally, and all of them don't offer customized items, and all of them don't offer private labels. For those of you that don't know what private labeling is, it's pretty much taking a product that has already been constructed and pretty much already built and putting your brand's label into it. So, some distributors will do that for you, some wholesalers will do that for you, but you typically have to buy over a certain amount. And then you have to pay for your labels to be, you know what I'm saying, like put in or whatever. So I think I had a bonus tip. Okay, I do. So this is number 6, like my bonus tip. When communicating with vendors, especially vendors and other places that where English is not necessarily the first language, you always want to be professional, be courteous. If you've ever tried to buy, well, from China and a couple other places, they'll call you boo. Oh, hey, boo. Hey, honey. Hey, baby. That's, I don't know. That's just how they talk. A lot of people get offended by that, not realizing that, I mean, that's just pretty much like that's what they do. That's how they are. You don't have to do it back. You just need to make sure you remain professional, because not yeah, or yes, dear. Yes, that's one that they always do. Um, you just remain professional, because not everybody in that factory are like, don't speak English. Like sometimes they have like a lot of their salespeople that will come and get educated in the United States or other places, learn English, and then go back and work in these companies. So they're able to better decipher, like, bad attitudes and unprofessionalism, which can really hurt you. Um, it can really hurt you in the long run. Let them know that you are, a legitimate business. You can tell them like, hey, you know, this is my website. Like, this is what I'm doing. Legitimate, because just like us, they got a million people in their inbox all the time. Like, oh, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, and then don't buy nothing, just wasting these people time. And then the third tip is to definitely, when you're typing, when you're communicating, please use, I guess you can say, proper English. And here's why I say use proper English, because a lot of them actually use translation tools. And if you're not really typing in complete sentences, or like you're using like a lot of shortcuts or like abbreviations to words, it may make it harder for them to be able to translate it if they use translation tools or apps, which is ultimately just going to make it like really hard, to communicate. So when you're talking to them, just type it out in complete sentences, use complete wording, um, so that they are able to read what you're writing. Now, some vendors will allow you to get samples. Just know that if you get samples, the samples are probably going to cost you, because it's just one piece, but it gives you an idea of the quality of their items. You can touch it, you can smell it, to make sure that you're not going to have a problem. Now, another tip that I tell people about when they're buying samples from vendors: don't just buy random samples. Like, try to buy samples of the types of products that you want to sell in the sizes of either yourself or the model, because what you could do is you could then use those samples to take brand photos, without having to wait until you get inventory to do it. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I make all my clients do. Like, I'm like, look, if you're going to be buying samples, buy samples that are going to be in alignment with your brand. Hopefully, if you already have a model, get it in the model size, get it in your size. And then it's almost kind of like a double whammy, and you don't really lose out. Uh, USA based vendors will probably ask for you to keep a card on file. That's completely normal. A lot of people don't like that. One of the parts that I did leave out about the different types of distributor manufacturers is that you have some manufacturers that are overseas, and you do have some manufacturers that are here in the United States. Now, the wholesale prices I would say are somewhat uh, competitive, but you are just going to really have to, as you find your vendors, like look at their price points, look at their offerings, and then from there decide like what kind of vendor you want to work with. And so once you do all of this, once you know all of this, then you can spend time like narrowing down, okay, like what vendors I want to work with, where do I want to start buying samples? Like this is the beginning part of the purchase the inventory. A lot of people decide, okay, I'm gonna start like somebody's gonna say, oh, I want to start a boutique tonight, and they're gonna be buying inventory first thing in the morning, not thinking about this stuff, not knowing this stuff, and then get stuck with 100 million pieces of inventory and be like, Nina, I can't sell this and I don't want this to be y'all. Okay. So I guess I'll go ahead and um, open up the floor for questions. So as the questions start to roll in, I'll answer them. So I'll probably do like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to scroll through Facebook to see if there's any questions. Now, for any of you that are wanting to start a boutique, like you need help, you want the step by step guidance, just hold on with your girl just a little bit longer. Like I've been working diligently to finish building out the entire course that's going to walk you from beginning to end on how to actually launch your very own online boutique, and I'm actually going to give you all like a free Wix website template that you'll be able to use to build like a really dope um, professional website. It is taking me a little bit longer because I want to make sure that this course is able to be taken by people um, who might have a hearing or like a visual disability. So I want to make sure that it is inclusive to all people who want to um, start a boutique, because y'all, e-commerce is not going anywhere. Like find y'all niche, find that thing that y'all want to do and do it. Like the opportunity is like for the taking. Like I don't see the opportunity going anywhere, not anytime soon. Like it's already exploded in other parts of the world, especially China. And to be honest with you, like we're like light years behind them, in my opinion. And so even in just looking at that, that should be like really exciting. A lot of people are like, oh well, we might have a what do they call it? What do you call it? A recession. Let me tell y'all something. If we have a recession, and if you start a boutique and you're just able to hold on through that recession, what's going to happen is that recession is going to make a whole new wave of millionaires, because what's going to end up happening is a lot of the brick and mortar stores not going to be able to make it. And if the brick and mortar stores are not going to be able to make it, like where do you think they're going to go? Consumer buying habits are shifting thanks to Amazon. Like people are becoming more accustomed to shopping online. There's other parts of the world that's not even as advanced with online shopping as we are in America, and especially not in China. So the opportunity is there for you to start like building this thing now. Like start with one thing and then kind of expand out. You don't have to start with like a store full of stuff. Like nobody really does that. And you'd be crazy like to do it. Build up an audience around a product or two and then scale from there. Sell something that you're passionate about, or something that you wear often, or something that you buy a lot for yourself. Why do I say do that? Because if you do that, then it's going to make it a whole lot easier to create content around this stuff. And if you can create the content around this stuff, then you're going to be able to persuade people and give people content to look at to help sway their purchasing decisions. And so I would say ride the wave of what's already happening. I keep saying this over and over again. These big companies are trying to figure out what they can do to compete with y'all. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. These multi-million dollar companies are trying to figure out what they need to do to prevent like the segmentation of the market that's happening. People are literally launching little small niche stores, and it's changing their lives. Like I've shared with y'all, like I have a client that went from, they were probably at a couple thousand, and to them sending me screenshots of clearing $123,000 months, clearing $80,000 months, clearing $100,000 months. So I'm not saying that it's gonna be a cakewalk, but what I'm saying is that if you're really serious about it, if you make the proper investments, if you um are really strategic and you're in it with the mindset of like in it to win it versus in it to just make a couple bucks, then you'll be able to do some pretty amazing things. Okay, so I see something on Facebook. It says, Alicia Wilson says, I came in late, but I'm starting a pet clothing drop shipping stores. Do you know any suppliers who can guarantee 1 to 3 day shipping? If you're going to do that, then what I would say, do this. Try to find USA based vendors that have the product. I don't know of any off of the top of my head. Um, One of the things that I would say that you could do is yeah, look for USA based companies, because if you look for any companies that are outside of the United States for 1 to 3 day shipping, the price is going to be so high to where if the product doesn't make sense to where you're charging somebody $53 because you have to cover shipping, but the market only like bears or will carry like $10 or $20, then that might be something um that you may run into. But no, I don't know any, but you can probably literally just Google like um pet clothing drop shippers like USA or something like that. And I'm gonna give you another little tip. I don't know if you into it or not, or if this is your thing, but CBD for dogs is it's $1 million industry, and it's only growing. And so that is something to continue. Yes, or bowl or Oberlo, Yakify, all of those. Like one of the things about tapping in with me is like I've touched a whole lot of programs. Like I've been up all in all these programs, businesses, and Oberlo is yeah, it could be like crazy high with the shipping. So your best bet is to get off of Oberlo and Google actual USA based manufacturers that will drop ship for you. That's going to be the best way to get what you're trying to get. And then consider going into CBD pet food and pet gummies, because I don't know if y'all know, but the cost of CBD balm, oil, any of that stuff, it is expensive, but the market but the market knows that they have to pay these really high prices. And I'm actually trying to get someone in my family to get into the CBD business, because I actually met a manufacturer here in the United States, and we're talking about people who want the CBD in a little bitty bottle that's like this. Market rate goes for like $90, and they drop ship. So that's just something to consider. So hopefully that helped. Boss up daughter. Hey, mommy. Let's see. Anybody else has any other questions? Okay, I saw something here on Instagram. YouTube, if you have any questions, just drop it down in the chat. I'm watching y'all, okay? Someone said, is it better to Siobhan said, is it better to buy inventory or use drop shipping? So again, it just depends on what type of product that you're trying to drop ship. I tell anybody if they're going to drop ship, like try to find high ticket items. Try to find, items that bear like a larger price point, because then if you do have to drop ship it and you have to add in shipping, you could probably like squeeze that shipping in there without the customer being like, the shipping is too much, I'm not going to buy it. Um, there are a lot of based vendors that drop ship. The thing about when you're drop shipping through USA based vendors, they will typically put a like a drop ship fee on it. So that's just something to be cognizant of. Like when it comes to if it's better than having the inventory or drop shipping, you got to think when you're drop shipping, a lot of people don't take the initiative to buy the products that they're drop shipping. So if you're not buying the products that you're drop shipping, then like how are you creating content? So if you are going to drop ship, then I would consider that you at least try to buy samples of the different products so you can use it in product photo shoots, or to create your own product photo shoots, to be able to create your own brand photo shoots, um, to be able to, show and give reviews and just make sure that the quality is up to par. Hey Judy, if I bring you on here, Instagram and Facebook, Instagram and YouTube won't be able to see you. Okay, so are there any other questions? Like this is the time. A lot of people are like, drop shipping prices, vendors, any of that. We can talk about that probably for the next 10 minutes because it'll be 10 o'clock and then I'll log off because y'all little nephew is over there asleep and he's snoring. Thank you for the idea. Definitely will be checking into it and adding it to my store. Yes. Like these people are really wanting that CBD, like CBD everything, really CBD toothpaste, CBD. I don't know if they got CBD water, but dog food, CBD makeup, like all of this stuff, like the CBD industry is expecting to just like boom in the next couple of years. Okay, Siobhan says, that's really good info. Thank you. Do you know of any good USA based drop shipping vendors? Yes, I know of a lot of them. It really just depends on what you are trying to sell. Um, you could Google them. Like one of the things about the USA drop shippers is that they typically have really good SEO. So if you like literally Google, like, for example, lingerie drop shippers USA, go through a couple of the pages and you'll find some. Now, with the USA based drop shippers, they will typically ask for like a wholesale or your resale certificate, and they'll typically ask you to keep your credit card on file. One of the good things about the drop shippers in the USA is that they will put your business information on the package so that your customers never know or never find out that you're drop shipping. Alicia says, how do you feel about Shopify versus Big Cartel? Between Shopify and Big Cartel, I would definitely say Shopify. Even though I'm a Wix girl, I would tell you Shopify over Big Cartel because it's gonna give you a lot of good data. And then also let me give y'all a little caveat. About the CBD. Now, some platforms don't let you sell CBD on it, and you have to be able to process the payments because not all payment processors will allow you to sell products with CBD because they're crazy, right? The industry is behind like the times and all these rules and regulations, but there is a payment processor. I don't know if they are on Shopify, but they're on Wix. If you go on Wix and go into like the payment settings to see all of the payment processors, you'll see them and they say like literally we let you do CBD because it's considered like a high risk. The processing fees are a little bit more, but on the flip side, like you can be able to sell your CBD stuff. So Instagram, if y'all like what I'm telling y'all, get a badge. make the little badge thing pop up. I think you can just click the little button right on the screen. I think a badge is like $1 or something like that. Judy say, hey, okay, and thank you for, oh yeah, sex toys. Okay, so some other things that you need to think about if you're gonna sell it that you might run into some issues. So sex toys, CBD, self-defense items. A lot of people are skating with the self-defense items. Um, Thank you so much, Siobhan, for buying a badge on Instagram. Thank you, girl. Self-defense items. A lot of people are selling self-defense items on Shopify. It'll be only a matter of time before you find out and they shut it down. So self-defense items are considered weapons. And so if you're going to sell that, then you're going to need to make sure you find a payment processor that's going to allow for you to do that. And that's the same with the buy in for, buy now, pay later stuff. Not all of them allow you to do that. Um, oh, if you sell stuff with like, this is gonna sound weird, but like human remains or like body parts, so like ashes. Like some people take like people's cremated ashes and they'll turn it into like a necklace or they'll put it in like a bottle. So those are considered like human remains, and so you really can't really be doing that depending on what processor that you're using. So y'all, we got like 5 more minutes. Let's get these questions answered. And so for everybody on Facebook, y'all probably see Ebony in the comments. She is positioning herself to be an amazing um, USA based vendor. She gonna be the plug for y'all, for everybody that's gonna need a vendor over here in the USA. Sorry if you are not on Facebook and can't see Ebony, but we've been working together and I can't wait to see what she launches. Okay, yes, animal stuff too. So mink lashes, they will literally, okay. So if your box say mink lashes and it's coming from China and it literally say mink lashes and perhaps not faux mink lashes, then your product could typically get seized. If you are selling actual mink lashes, then to import them, you need to have a license through the Fish and Wildlife Services to be able to do that. And then not only do you have to have that license, I think it's like $100, but then you have to pay $100 for every shipment that you bring in. A lot of people are like, I'm not doing that. Okay, if your stuff gets seized, then you have to do it anyway, or they're going to ship it back. The same as that thing with sunglasses. A lot of people don't know that when you buy glasses from overseas, most of them should come with what's called a drop ball test. And that drop ball test pretty much is like that safety, showing that, okay, these lenses are durable and can stand like a certain amount of impact to keep it from shattering in our eyes. I actually had to help somebody work through getting all of their sunglasses held up from out of customs. Like customs had their sunglasses and they were like, you need this, this, and that. And so we were back and forth with the people over in China, like, we need this, this, and these documents. We eventually got the products released, but it was like 2 or 3 days worth of back and forth. Hey, hey, six-figure mompreneur. Another one in, oh, contacts. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but when it comes to buying like or selling contacts, contacts are considered a medical device. So because it's considered a medical device, if you sell someone color contacts, they should be sold only if they have a prescription. A lot of people have a lot of people are selling contacts just because they're color contacts non-prescription, not knowing that they can actually have their store shut down, their product seized, and be fined by the FDA. If you don't believe me, look it up. You're not um they shouldn't be just selling color contacts on the corner of the convenience store, or you shouldn't be selling it online. Now, there's some ways to know like how to do it, and but they mostly say that it has to come from like an optometrist. And most of us ain't no optometrist. And if someone is selling them and something happens to your eyes, you may not have any recourse to be compensated for you potentially losing your eyes. And there's only certain companies that are licensed to even do this. So a lot of the contacts in these color contacts, they are coming from unregulated places. Siobhan said, I did not know all of that. See, that's why I'm gonna be letting y'all know, letting y'all in. And if y'all on Facebook, y'all can know that this is facts because I got Ebony up in the comments and she knows a lot of the stuff that I know because like this is what we do. We make sure we know this stuff for y'all so you're not getting like um getting caught up. But some places like Shopify and stuff like that, they will absolutely take it down if they think that you're um selling animal products. She says, be careful using chemicals from other companies too. Yep. If you want to sell makeup, I would encourage you to work with the manufacturer or makeup lab here in the United States because 9 times out of 10, they are licensed, they have the proper credentials, and they are more than likely have like that insurance that you're going to need in the event that something happens. He says, I've gone to a lot of places that sell them and I've purchased them and they didn't require a prescription at all. That's crazy. Yeah. All I could say is just like, honestly, just like look it up. It's the truth. I've seen the 99-cent store sell contacts and beauty supply stores sell them. Yeah. A lot of, so the thing I tell y'all all the time, like ignorance is not like a legal defense. Like if you're gonna sell online, then you need to make sure that you know that what you're selling is number one permissible, but number two that you're selling within the guidelines. A lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of people make like hair oils, right? And they'll slap on the bottle like hair growth oil. You can't do that. Like the FDA will come for you and they'll smack you so hard just out of the blue, and they'll put the notice on their website. Um, there's there's only a couple of companies that have items that can be called like actual hair growth oil. Um, And so I only know this because I have a client and we had to go through this a whole lot of back and forth with the FDA to figure out what's what. And so some people are labeling their products hair growth oil that they made at their house and they actually cannot label it that based on the FDA. And so that's just something that you should know. She said, seen them at stores and the malls too. Yeah, people just don't know. So whatever it is that you're selling, you're gonna need to. I encourage everybody to Google to see if there's some type of um, if there's some type of regulation on it. If you're selling jewelry and it's made with a certain stuff in California, I think they have some stuff that's like prohibited, and you have to if it contains a certain thing that you have to list it. And if you don't list it on your website that it contains this thing, but sell it in California, you can get fined. So, that is the same about the products that you sell, but then also like your business license and stuff like that, which is Kaleidoscope 9 times out of 10 with the level that she's doing things, um, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure she got it on point. I'm pretty sure she got it on point, especially if it's in Walmart. Hers, well, not Walmart, but her stuff is in large retail stores. And so one of the things that they have to know is like that commercial Sage can't hear anything. One of the things that, when you go into retail stores that they have like their people that analyze like the commercial risk involved. And so I'm pretty sure they made sure that she did what she was supposed to do to be able to do that, or else they could potentially be held liable as well. But I'm without like saying too much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's good. Yes. Okay, so she sells them at Walmart and a bunch of other places. Yeah. So we're pretty much at 10. I'm glad y'all are on because I'm switching around my live stream schedule. So most of y'all know I used to go live on Thursdays. Now I'm gonna be going live on Mondays and Tuesdays. So my talks that I use, my business talk, the Let's Talk Businesses, good Lord. The Let's Talk Business segment that I used to do on Thursday, I'm now going to be doing that on Monday. And then every Tuesday is going to be geared towards um, boutique talk. Okay. So I'm calling it Boutique Talk Tuesday. And this is where we're going to pretty much be talking about everything online selling, boutique, and things like that. So I really hope that this helps you all. If you're having a hard time finding vendors, if you need to have a one-on-one, on Facebook. You can click the link in my on my profile. Go there. You can book a one-on-one. Same with Instagram. And the great thing about it now is you can actually use Sizzle. So I set up my website for you to be able to use Sizzle to get the help that you need. For those of you that don't know, Sizzle is, buy now, pay later. You can split it up into fours to get the help that you need. And for those that you don't, of those of you that don't know, your consultations, those things pertaining to the business, the classes, all of that stuff, um, is tax deductible. It's a business expense. It's a cost that you incur to do business and to get your business up off the ground, and or that consulting piece to get you the help that you need. So essentially it pays for itself, especially if you make money throughout the year, like getting the help that you need, like all that stuff is deductible. So don't be afraid to get the help that you need. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody to help you get through it and walk through it. So literally just click the link in my bio, go to, book a business consultation setting. You can go there. Unfortunately, my time is like very limited now. So I don't have nearly as many slots as I used to have. So when you see them, get them. And if you're already launched, um, you can go into the Diamond Tribe. If you haven't launched, then be on the lookout for the course. And I keep calling it a course because I have not named it yet. I need to come up with a name for this course. I was thinking about um, four-figure boutique launch because everybody that I've helped to launch have all at least made four figures in their first month of launching. And a lot of y'all probably like, four figures. Let me tell you something. A lot of people, if you're not on Facebook, they be struggling to make $2. They'll make $2 in 3 months. Okay. But we don't have that problem. Someone says, do you help with getting sales? Trying to find out why getting traffic and no sales. So what you could do is you click the link in my bio, go to just book a one-on-one. We can look at your data, look and see like what's going on. We would have to actually dig into that stuff to see what's going on and help you to come up with an analysis. Okay, so since you're already launched, I would just say go and book. It says book a strategy session. So it might be the one, two, maybe like the third button. So yeah, so just book that because like how things are gonna be working now. So I'll have a couple slides for the people who just kind of need one-on-ones to talk to me, right? Um, if you haven't launched your boutique and you need help, you'll be able to go into the course. The course will literally walk you through. Like I'm holding y'all hand with this, like from beginning to end. After you launch, if you need that post-launch support, how you can work with me is by going into the Diamond Tribe. That's where I will have all my classes, all my courses. If you have to ask questions, you can ask it in there. I'll respond, engage in there. And then the only way to be able to work with me one on one is there's an application that's going to be going out. You're pretty much going to have to sign up for that. If I feel like we'll be a good fit, then I will extend you an offer to what's called the CEO experience, where we can work like that. A lot of people want to work with me like one on one because they like my style. They love me, and so I'm not able to work with as many people as I used to. And so those are going to be the ways to work with me. And I also am realizing is that those people who stay with me 3 months at a time, like they get a lot further than people that just kind of book one call here, one call there, because this business thing, it's a never ending process. You have to work on it every day. And I find that the people that get results and they get to where they want to go are those people that I work with in a one on one kind of nature. And so I want to now start spending all of my time with those people that make that investment into their business to be able to guide them in a more um, very close knit kind of way. And because I want to offer that level of service, and because I'm going to be dedicating a lot of my time to those people, I won't have a lot of time to do a whole bunch of one-on-ones and stuff like that. And so if you are interested in working with me through the CEO experience, just like really one-on-one with me, I'll let y'all know when the application opens up. So it won't be opening back up until January because my roster is pretty full right now. So I won't be working with anybody else one-on-one until January. But I will be having a really nice Black Friday offer. So my last Black Friday offer was pretty dope. If you missed that, I'm sorry. I gave everybody a hint. So I don't know if y'all saw the post. I'll tell y'all what I told everybody else is to save up your $1,000. It's going to be 10 people that'll be able to get that offer. And if you miss it, I promise you're going to be kicking yourself, especially with the fact of me not being as accessible as I used to, because people just run me ragged. Okay. So, all right, y'all. We are at 10:10. I've been going over an hour. I know Instagram is about to like give me the boot. I really appreciate y'all. Judy, I look forward to meeting you soon. Alicia, I'm glad that this information helped. Sabrina, I'm so happy that you're able to tune in, and I'm excited to see um where you go with your 1 million views. Y'all, Sabrina did a tutorial and got 1 million views on Sabrina on Facebook. She did a Facebook reel and it's over 1 million views. Has literally grown her follower count on Facebook by over a couple thousand. So y'all better get on your reels, get on your video content. All right. So that is all, my lovely people. I hope you all have a great night. For those of you that want to talk to me one-on-one, go ahead, click the link in my personal click the link in my personal bio. My website is the BB Assistant. If you're on Instagram, just click the link in the bio. Go down to, book a call. It's right above book a business registration call. So right above that, and you can check out what Sezzle. So I hope you all have a good night, and I am going to shut these streams down. I will see y'all on the next live on Monday, but I will be active throughout the week. So when you see me post, comment. Don't just be popping up with me when I'm live all up in your face, okay? So y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all. Bye-bye.